As usual, first thing we're going to do, go to composition, new composition. I'm going to name this sound keys, 1920 by 1080, 30 frames per second. And I'm going to import my audio file right here to my timeline. What I'm going to do, I'm going to double click on it, and I'm going to go to the part that I want to trim, which I already know that it's at 125. So I'm going to press Alt, bracket. Very good. So now I'm going to go back here and press close bracket. And now I have my audio file right here. So let's listen to it for a second. Very good. So I'm going to use this first 8 seconds right here. I'm going to press N and then Ctrl-Shift-X to trim my composition. Very good. Let's go back to our canvas. And now what I'm going to do, I'm going to create a new shape layer. I'm going to create an ellipse right in the middle of our composition. I'm going to activate my proportional grid to make things easier. Click in the middle, Ctrl-Shift. Then I'm going to create something like this. Very good. I'm going to make the fill solid. I'm going to change the color to white. I'm going to get my stroke, and I'm going to have no stroke this time. I'm going to move this to the side. And I'm going to duplicate this, move to the other side. Very good. I'm going to name this bass and treble. Very good. So now we're going to create a new solid, and we're going to name this sound keys. I'm going to isolate this layer. I'm going to go here to our effect in presets and sound for sound keys. I'm going to drop that into our new created solid. And here in our options, I'm going to go to audio layer, and I'm going to select our audio file. So now as you can see, we have an audio spectrum that's reacting to our layer or our music, our song. What I'm going to do, and I want you to understand this, is that here on our preset, we have some options. The most important one for now is going to be the range. You see this first range right here? Here's how it works. We have this one active, and here I'm going to make my background solid so you can see this better. I'm going to choose with my range what kind of sound I'm going to be getting into my output for this range. So I can choose, for example, just this part right here, which is the bass, or I can go all the way up to the treble. Since we're going to do two different shapes and I want each shape to react to a different thing, we're going to put this just here on the orange part. If you come here, you can see that this is called sub-bass plus the bass. Very good. You can even move this a bit more. So let's get all the red and yellow side. As you can see, this green part right here shows the final output as a single bar. So very good. What we're going to do now, we're going to go to range 2. We're going to activate, because in this range, I want to choose our mid tones, which are going to be those greenish ones. So now you can see both outputs right here on the side. Very good. What we're going to do now, we're going to look at fall off. For both, we're going to change from instant to exponential. That's going to change the easing of our animation. And now here in output, minimum and max. We're going to go to custom, and we're going to change this from 70 to 200. And that's because we're going to be linking the scale of each one of our shapes to these properties. And so we know that normally our scale goes from 0 to 100%. But since on 0, we have no shape at all, we're going to choose from 70 being the minimum size. So it's going to be at least 70% of its original size to at max 200% of its original size. So let's choose that for both. Very good. Now that you have everything set up, you're going to go down here to apply and click apply. If we press U here, you can see that we have our output 1, which is our bass and sub-bass, and our output 2, which is our midtones. What we're going to do now, we're going to press S on our bass and S on our treble, and we're going to link those parameters. So here on our bass, we're going to link this to output 1, and here on our treble, we're going to link this to output 2. So now, if we turn off our sound keys layer here in the bottom, and we play this, our shapes are already reacting to our song. So what I'm going to do now, this is pretty much how the effect works. If that's everything that you want to know, the tutorial now is finished. What I'm going to do now is that I'm going to apply some other effects, and I'm also going to show you how you can apply your song to different kinds of effects that are not a scale parameter, for example. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to create a new solid. I'm going to call this background. I'm going to search for gradient ramp. I'm going to swap the colors. I'm going to choose a bit of a lighter gray, a bit of a darker white. Very good. I'm going to search for a different effect, which is a plugin that I have here called Dip Glow. Now, if you want to simulate this, you can also use the normal glow for After Effects, but I totally recommend this plugin because the glow in this one looks just so much better than the native one from After Effects. So I'm going to drop this on both of my shapes. Very good. And now what I'm going to do, I'm going to create a new solid again. I'm going to call this particular. I'm going to search for my particular effect, which is also a plugin. I'm going to go to my designer window. And what I want to do here is to come to my presets, and then I'm going to go down to here, rising embers. I'm going to close this. I'm going to go to my meter type, and I'm going to change the meter size to individual, and I'm going to make my X much larger. I'm going to make it as large as our composition, and then here on Y, I'm going to bring this down like this. Very good. I'm going to change my color from orange to white. That's it. Very good. I'm going to press apply. What we're going to do here, so I'm going to go to my particular layer. I'm going to press U double times. I'm going to go back here, down here to air, physics, air, turbulence field, effect, position. So here's an example how to do this with a different effect. I'm going to go back to our sound keys, and now I'm going to activate my third range. I'm going to disable my two first ones because I'm not going to do any changes for them. I'm going to go from instant to exponential. I'm going to turn the layer and isolate it so I can see my range here. Very good. So for this, we're going to be using the treble. We're going to make this a bit lower since our treble isn't too high on that song. Very good. I'm going to choose my range from, let's see, from 0 to 1,000, around 1,000. Very good. And that's all. Very good. Now I'm going to press apply. And now if we press U here again, we're going to see that we have an output 3 now. And I'm going to link this effect position in our turbulence field to the output number 3. Very good. Now I'm going to, let's turn off our sound keys layer. Let's test it out. That might be a bit too strong, so let's change things up. I'm going to go back to my sound keys, and here, instead of going from 0 to 1,000, I'm going to go just for 400. I'm going to apply once again. much better. What I'm going to do now, I'm going to create a new solid. Once again, I'm going to call this Audio Spectrum. And here we're going to drop an audio spectrum layer. So I'm going to isolate this layer for now. I'm going to choose my audio layer, our song layer. I'm going to change the height of this. So I'm going to go in softness to 0% and maximum height. Let's see how high this should go to. That looks cool. Now you can see my other layers. I'm going to push this to the middle a bit. Very good. I'm going to change this to white. And here I'm also going to drop a dip glow effect. Very good. And just to wrap things up, I'm going to add again a new solid. I'm going to call this gradient ramp. I'm going to add a gradient ramp effect. I'm going to change this, let's see, something a bit more colorful, right? So let's try the blue and purple that I do in every single tutorial. Like this. I'm going to change my blending mode from normal to overlay. Now again, let's see, I can swap the colors like this. It looks better. And now one last thing, I also want to add a deep glow effect to my particular. And now to make things a bit more interesting here, can you hear this drop? If you open our layer here, we can hear that it happens right here. So I'm going to go to my audio layer. I'm going to trim it right at this point. So let's see how that looks now. And that's all. That's just one of the ways that you can use the Sound Keys plugin. It's a very powerful plugin. It works much better than the native way of doing this in After Effects. And, try to test with different things other than scale, maybe rotation or position. Have fun with it. And that's all. See you all next time.